Jahangir, you have to lower your margins, man. You are making a lot of money. This is not done. Absolutely not done.
Hello. Hi. First, on Chef Hemant Oberoi, I have to say this too. He's never raised his voice. And it's not just people that work for him, whether it's Chef Kinney or Chef Ramu or even Mr. Nitin, but purveyors like me that were terrified of him. But he's always been a great mentor also. So when I was introducing products, he would always encourage me, spend time with me, but he's never raised his voice, I think. He would look at you a certain way that was all right, time to go.
One look is enough.
That was usually enough. Sorry, coming back to the cost, there are so many things that are involved in this. When you're looking at our tariffs in India, when you look at a cumulative duty structure that's coming close to 40% on CIF value, that is crippling. So if you're looking at small volumes and perishable stuff, most importers are forced to move that by air. Even in doing that, it's impossible for us to guarantee that our end user is going to get that in time because of clearances that are involved. When you're moving it in by air, you have to be very careful about where it's being stored at the airports. Along with that comes spoilages, come a whole bunch of other things. As I believe it was Nitin who was talking about labeling costs, this is something that we really face. I mean, when you're going to a large manufacturer, if I'm going to a principal who is very big in, say, salumi out of Italy, for them, if I'm not giving them volumes, for them to do the labeling is just next to impossible, which means that I have to have a bonded warehouse over here, which is temperature controlled, which is very expensive to maintain and run, in which we then are able to do the secondary labeling that is required for the product. Honestly, it is not money that's going into our pockets, although that's what you all may be thinking. And to answer Shefali's question on Goa, I just got back from Goa and I was at a restaurant, a friend's restaurant for dinner, Bomra. I paid 19,500 rupees for two of us for a meal. Of course, I drank a good amount of wine.
How much did you drink?
I had a good amount of wine also,
please,
I will say so.
Then it is not the food.
But Goa is evolved now. It's not about people going there thinking that's a cheap meal I'm going to have. If I want to go and eat, I'll go to North Goa.
Go to the shack, have a beer, have eggs, and that's about it. Why do you want to go to a fine dine restaurant
because
and eat the same lamb that you sold them, New Zealand lamb chop, and then you're going to pay 1,500 rupees for that.
You've got to keep the home fires burning, right? So that's one way of doing it. No, but to really talk about cost, this is something that we do struggle with all the time, and it becomes, if there is an economy of scale, that is when we can actually bring out a product that will be able to compete. Now, contrary to what people think about Fortune as just being gourmet, we were the first people to introduce quinoa into India, and it really took off well. But so when Chef Oberoi talks about giving seeds to somebody, again, if there is no economy of scale there, even on a local level, it becomes very hard for someone to actually execute and do.
I want to shift to Mr. Hemal Haria. He represents the dry fruit trade, and I want to understand, he brings in these exotic berries, though they are dried, and he does his bit of creativity with them. And if he can answer the fact that, is it the high margins that, importers are perceived to be making a lot of high margins. Maybe they dress properly or they drive in big cars or something, but the importer's perception is that they make a huge chunk of margins. And the grass is always greener on the other side. We believe hoteliers are enjoying, the food cost is only 28 and 30%, rest 70% goes into their pocket, which is very far away from reality. But, how do you see that as, as a market?
Thank you, Amit Bhai. See, to be honest, imported fruits, they have been able to bring down the cost. If you take walnuts, Kashmiri walnuts selling at 1,800 rupees a kilo in wholesale.
Yes.
California and Chilean walnuts, genuinely good quality, it's 1,000 and 1,200. The margins are not much in imports. It is the perception that it is expensive. In fact, because of imports, India is able to get genuinely good quality products. Berries, if we take, it has a very good fusion in the Indian mithai market.
Yes.
cranberry, modak, blueberry, kaju katli and all. So per se, imported fruits are actually stabilizing the market. If imported walnuts were not there, the prices would have shot up 2,000, 2,400 or something.
So from tree nuts or dry nuts to someone who used to, or still importing something which was at one point of time a very huge thing in India, which was mayonnaise and maple syrup and barbecue sauce. So Sanjay Bajoria from Bajoria Food, who makes a lot of money. So I want to understand with him, what does he do with that money? He can answer offline. But do you really believe that supply chain is becoming easier, difficult when you work with retailers because of the forecasting not happening sometimes? How do you manage that? Because the market is growing exponentially. There are local players who are trying to make similar product, whether it is Viva, whether it is Mrs. Bector Foods, Cremica, all these guys have done a great job in creating a category which was earlier used very, I would say scarcely, but now it's available very easily and people are using it in their daily food as well.
Thanks, Amit. I think this question is very close to my heart and we have been talking about this, that from both the retailers' point of view and from the government point of view also. So when Avinash used to be in Future Group and they created a section called International Food, and even Star Bazaar had an international food, I used to go and fight with them and I used to say, why are you trying to put me into a different section where people don't want to walk in thinking that it is expensive? Please don't do the government is already made a trade barrier and you are making another barrier, which is very dangerous for us. So we did convince them and Future Group demolished the complete international section and merged us with the regular section, which helped us a lot because the consumer could decide with Fun Food and any other local brand along with American Garden on the shelf whether we are expensive, and if we are expensive, whether the product is value for money or not. So now if you see most of the retailers or supermarket chains across India do not carry an international section. So imported food or Indian food is almost in the same shelf. Well, leave Nature's Basket because it is a gourmet store. Now, answering to the question of what Amit was saying, the government also used to think that, oh, you are an importer. So whether it is from the FSSAI side, we were always thought to be the black sheep of the country. We are like people who are draining out the dollars from the country. We are allowing international food companies to come to India. But it is at the very later stage they realize that we are actually creating categories in India where today Fun Food is or Viva is or any other brand, it was because we did the initial hard work to create the category. Today if you tell me to put a plant of any product, I need to do a test market. I need to create a market for it. It is not possible with 20 households or 20 stores across India selling those products. You can put a factory in India. You need a substantial amount of consumer to sustain a production in a factory. So we importers actually has helped the Make in India, and I very proudly say that whether it is pasta, what you were talking about in the morning, or even for the chef, earlier every exotic vegetable what you used to eat in the Taj or any up-class restaurant was imported. Today, we grow exotic vegetables in containers and they are very fresh. So if Chef Ovore wants a special kind of a black potato, what comes from Peru, can be grown in India. And he can, if he says that this is my forecast for next 20 days, if we have the seed and everything, it can be grown in next 12 days, right? Or it takes 7 days. 7 to 12 days, if I'm not wrong. Because
But the
Well-
problem is, the challenge is, see, I have to close this, but the challenge always is the price. At the end of the day, when you look at quinoa, which was coming in from Peru, which was at that point of time selling at 2,000 rupees a kilo.
Okay,
A
so-
product which was $2 a kilo in Peru
Yeah.
was sold by importers, retailers. Everyone wants a chunk of a new product category when the market is very small. Today, Vijayawada is growing quinoa. Quinoa prices have dropped to 160 rupees a kilo. So you can imagine from 2,000 rupees a kilo about a year or 2 years back, going down to 160 rupees a kilo. So the market has expanded, and we can take this discussion offline in the lounge, because I've been signaled that we have used more than our time slot. But I want to thank the August panel once again for being here, giving their valuable feedback. And obviously, the importers need to stop making a lot of money, so we need to work on that. And we can have an importer session next time discussing how much money we guys make. How to reduce the margin of making money. Thank you so much. Thank you for the audience as well.